Hello, everyone. I I was so enthused about what I talked about earlier about Samson and what's going on now over there in Gaza. I said, let me talk some more about it since I have more time now. Because we was talking about Judges chapter 13, where it talks about how the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord or Jehovah. And then Jehovah delivered them into the hands of the Philistines 40 years. Now, it goes on to talk about the parents of Samson, and an angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine, nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. So, okay. Now she told her husband, but evidently he didn't like, he was kind of worried of this. We ain't had no kids and all this. So are you sure? Who was this? What was his name? Where did he come from? So he went to the Lord and said, hey, tell me, send somebody and tell me this, because I want to hear with my own ears, pretty much. And so an angel of Jehovah went to Mahana, though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread, and thou shalt will offer a burnt offering. So, and then Manna said unto the angel of the Lord, what is thy name? And when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor. And the angels went on to say, don't worry about that. My name is a secret. And so, and then man went on to tell his wife, look, we're going to die. We just seen God. Now, it went from him seeing an angel to seeing God. But his wife said unto him, if the Lord was pleased to kill us, he would have not received a burnt offering, because they had gave a burnt offering for all these wonderful things. And the woman bore a son and called him Samson. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move him at times in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Eshtaol. So, and looking at that movie Samson, it was like one of these movies that you'd be seeing on Tubi. How I guess they say the Lord moves in mysterious ways, because he kept doing all kind of stuff that he wasn't supposed to do. He he went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timoth, the daughters of the Philistines. So he went down there, and then he gonna fall in love with a Philistine, the ones that he was eventually gonna fight. Then, after telling his parents His father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest and take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? Okay. Is the Palestinians, are they uncircumcised? Are they keeping with the tradition of being uncircumcised? Good answer. I mean, good question. So, and Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. Mm. And he gonna tell his father, Get her for me. And eventually he got her. So then, in the meantime, Samson's down there, and then when Samson down, and his father and his mother to Timoth, it came to the vineyards of Timoth, and behold, a young lion roaring against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came mighty upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done. And when he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. Now, and after a time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating, and then came to his father and mother, and he gave them, and they did eat. But he told them not that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for those used the young man to do. And he came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast, and find it out, I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. But if ye cannot declare it to me, shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments? And they said to him, Put forth the riddle. And he said, Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. Now, this is strange. This is the Bible and the movie. They gotta, get it, put more in it, because, put their say on it, because, we all don't know what happened, but they didn't follow the whole story. And it came to pass in the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, okay, so he didn't, and he talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time, he returned to take her. I guess that's meaning that he married her. Okay. And then after that, that's when the lion incident happened, I guess. And so they approached Samson's wife and enticed, and told her to entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have, as it not go? Okay. Now you see that's what's going on. All you got to do is threaten. That's all it takes is a threat. Why she didn't have enough confidence in her husband to tell him what they did. And he could have, okay, by then nobody knew that he had all this strength and power. But that's your husband, and y'all should have did everything in y'all's power to protect her parents. But she wept before him. And thou dost hate me, and heart and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it to me. Now, why all of a sudden you want to know the answer? And he said unto her, behold, I have not told it to my father nor my mother, and I shall tell it to thee. And she wept some more. Before the 7 days while thou feast lasted, and it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her. And because she laid sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. And then the man of the city said unto him on the 7th day. Now, I know he had to be smart enough to know that she must have told it. Because she, all of a sudden, he tells her the answer, and then they come with the answer. So, and that's when and the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, if ye had not applied with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. So he did figure it out. That she must have told him. Then why didn't they call cheat? You ain't getting nothing. Let's see what happened. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil, and gave change of garments unto them, which expounded the widow. So 30 people had to lose their life because of this riddle, and because she told. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as a friend. That was not in the movie. In the movie, the head of the army, the king's son, took her and gave her to his companion, whom he had used as a friend. But it came to pass within a while after the end, the time of the wheat harvest, and that Samson visited his wife with a kid. And he said, I will go into my wife into the chamber. but her father would not suffer him to go in. And her father said, I verily thought that thou hadst utterly hated her. Therefore I gave her to thy companion. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of her. And Samson got really mad and started blaming and blameless that the Philistines thought I do them displeasure. And Samson went and caught 300 foxes and took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst between two tails. Okay, this was not in the movie. And when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines and burnt up both the shocks and also the standing corn with the vineyards and the olives. Oh. Then the Philistines said, who have done this? And they answered, Samson. So how did they know Samson did it? The son-in-law of the Timnite, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. And Samson said unto them, thou ye have done this, yet will I be avenged of you, and have that I will cease. And he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter, and he went down. Okay, this is when he killed them with a, wait a minute, I thought it was a jawbone, but this is saying a hip and thigh bone. Okay. And when he smote, then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah and spread themselves in Lehi. And the men of Judah said, why are ye come up against us? And they answered, to bind Samson are we come up. To do to them has he done to us. Okay, I'm reading out this King James Bible. And then it got a lot of let me go get my other Bible, because I'm these 18th century words is too much. Oh, I can't find my other Bible. So I'm going to have to get this one. The New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures. It's a Jehovah's Witness Bible. Okay, where did I stop off at? 15, Judges 15. Then he struck them down one after another with a great slaughter, after which he went down and stayed in a cave. Later, the Philistines came up and camped in Judah and were trampling about in Lehi. Then the men of Judah said, why have thou come up against us? To which they answer, we have come to capture Samson, to do to him just as he did to us. So 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cave of Craig and said to Samson, do you not know that the Philistines are ruling over us? So why have you done this to us? He said to them, as they did to me, so I did to them. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. All you care about is yourself. You don't care that by doing this, it's going to make all of us suffer. That's what I see a lot going on, especially in the Black community. All they care about, me, me. And go do something or say something that's going to make us all look bad. That's going to bring the hammer down on all of us. Like all these Black people that's supporting this ex-president, knowing that, yeah, he may have cut your taxes, but what about the rest of us that is hurting behind this? And Samson, then Samson said, swear to me that yourselves will not assault me. He's facing 3,000 of his fellow people. And they said to him, no, we will not. We will only tie you up and hand you over to them, but we will not put you to death. So they bound him with 2 new ropes and brought him up from the crack. And when he came to Lehi, the Philistines shouted triumphantly at meeting him. Then Jehovah's Spirit empowered him, and the ropes on his arms became like threads and were scorched with fire, and his fetters melted off his hands. He now found a fresh jawbone of a male donkey, and he reached out and grabbed it and struck down 1,000 men with it. Then Samson said, with the jawbone of a donkey, 1 heap, 2 heapers, with the jawbone of a donkey, I struck down 1,000 men. Okay. Killed 1,000 men with a jawbone. And when he finished speaking, he threw the jawbone away and called that place Ramath Lehi. Then he became very thirsty, and he called on Jehovah and said, it was you who gave this great salvation unto the hand of your servant. But now am I to die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised? Okay. After his people gave him to the Philistines, he turned around and then killed the Philistines. So we see the Lord working in mysterious ways. Why do all these people have to die? Because I look at it like you have the most powerful, the creator of everything, have to use one man to kill thousands of people. And then you have some parts of the Bible where God killed a lot of his people with his power. So it's a lot. Why do so many people have to die? And for what reason? I know. All of this will be revealed in due time, in God's time. Okay, that's what they always say. And so God split open a hollow that was in Lehi, and water flowed from it. And when he drank, his spirit returned, and he revived. That is why it's named the place of. Okay, one time, Samson went to Gaza and saw a prostitute there, and he went in to her. He went in to her. Right, that's right. And the Gazites were told Samson has came here. So they surrounded him and laid an ambush for him all night long in the city gate. That wasn't in the movie. They stayed quiet the whole night, saying to themselves, when daylight come, we will kill him. However, Samson kept lying there until midnight. Then he got up at midnight and grabbed the doors of the city gate and the two side posts and pulled them out along with the bar. He put them on his shoulder and carried them up to the top of the mountain that faces Hebron. And that he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sokra, whose name was Delilah. Oh, wow. Boy, that movie was all off. So the lords of the Philistines approached her and said, trick him and find out what gives him such great strength and how we can overpower him and tie him up and subdue him. For this will each give you 1,100 silver pieces. And then Delilah later said to Samson, please tell me where your great power comes from. You can be used, and what can be used to tie you up and subdue you? Okay. So Delilah's going to ask him that. Oh, and of course we find out that he told her 3 different stories, and then finally he gave in and told her what really it was, and she betrayed him. So when Delilah saw that he had opened his heart to her, she immediately summoned the Philistine lord. Come up this time, for he has opened his heart to me. So the Philistines lord came up to her, bringing the money with them, and she made him fall asleep on her knees. Then she called the man and had him shave off the 7 braids of his head. And after that, she began to have control over him, for his power was leaving him. So the Philistines are upon you, Samson. He woke up from his sleep and said, I will go out as other times and shake myself free. But he did not know that Jehovah had left him. So it went on, and they bound him with 2 copper fetters, and he became a grinder and grain in the prison. Okay. And they bored his eyes out. And over time, his hair began to grow back. And the Philistine lords gathered together to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to celebrate. For they were saying, our God has given Samson, our enemy, into our hands. Really? Excuse me, but didn't his wife tell on him? But anyway, so And because their heart was cheerful, they said, call Samson to provide us with some amusement. Oh, they got some amusement, didn't they? And then Samson said to the boy, hold him by the hand. Let me feel the pillars that support the house so that I can lean against them. Okay. Incidentally, the house was full of men and women. All the Philistine lords were there. And on the roof, there was about 3,000 men and women who were looking on while Samson provided amusement. Samson now called out to Jehovah, please strengthen me just this once, and let me take revenge on the Philistines for one of my 2 eyes. Samson called out, let me die with the Philistines. Then he pushed with all his might, and the house fell on the lords and all the people in it, and he killed more at his death than he had killed during his life. So over this course of the time, he done killed how many people? A lot of people. And later his brothers and all his father's family came down to take him back. They brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah, his father. He had judged Israel for 20 years. So, I thought that was pretty interesting how after all these years we still somewhat act like this. So I'm not seeing nothing else about Delilah. So, and then at the end of the movie, it brings out how finally David came, and that was to bring in, that was the lineage of Jesus was to come through David. And yeah, so it's real. It's interesting to learn about the history of people, to really get to understand why they think the way they think, and you can pretty much know what they're going to do. Just like they should have known that sooner or later these Palestinians was going to start some mess, one or the other, because that's what they do. They've been fighting each other, hating on each other for centuries. And I don't know why they can't take that into consideration when it comes to policy and the UN. It should be like, okay, we know sooner or later y'all going to start some mess with one another. We already got this in place. You know, when something happened, it should have been some kind of something that could have rescued more people and got them out the way, because these folks is crazy. They don't care. They play for keeps. They serious about their God. I don't know what happened to God Dagon. But I'm just going to read a few things out of my African American quotations, and I'm going to read a little bit about history. Okay, James Baldwin. Which of us has overcome his past? Good question. John Henry Clark. History is a clock that people use to tell their time of day. It is a compass they use to find themselves on the map of human geography. It tells them where they are and what they are. And we don't do that. Us as African Americans, there should be something that we are, all of us, people of color should be doing. We should be teaching our children from day one about their history, about who they are, about their culture and their traditions, and who they are. And John Henry Clark again said, we are never, absolutely never to forgive and forget what happened. Now, I do believe that, and I stand by that. But we have to stop letting other people tell our history on film and books or whatever. They could do what they want to do, but we should not be supporting it at all. Just like all these doggone slavery movies. Okay, I say this. I think Roots should have been the last slavery movie that we played in. All we got to do is just play Roots and the next generation, and that will tell it all. That movie told it all. There's nothing else that you could say or do, except if we, making a movie about Harriet Tubman or Frederick Douglass or something like that. But as far as a slavery movie, oh hell no. Then they came out with that 12 Years a Slave. I thought that was just, that was a white supremacist dream. That movie. Make some movies about Harriet Tubman. I mean, they did, but Mary Malone Bethune, make movies about our greatness, doing something good for our people, not being some slave. If you're gonna make a movie about enslaved people, make movies about the slave owners and how stupid and lazy they were and evil. Jonetta Cole. Black Americans must never forget the price paid for today's progress and promise. But these young folks, you wouldn't think, you have to ask yourself, do they really know the pain and suffering that their people went through just for you to have this? Don't get it twisted. If they didn't die and fight like they did, you wouldn't have this. They will still have your butt back in the bus. But we didn't have so much of this riding in the front bus that they seem to forget. And see, what's happening is a lot of people that went through that, they are dying off, and we're gonna have a whole bunch of misinformed people. Don't forget. They want you to forget. And if you forget, you're going to find yourself right back in the back of that bus. You're still dealing with the same people that they dealt with. It's just some laws been put on the books. Okay. John Hope Franklin. If the house is to be set in order, when one cannot begin with the present, he must begin with the past. That's why I say tell your kids about the past. John Hope Franklin again. Racial segregation, discrimination, and degradation are no unanticipated accidents in this nation's history. They stem logically and directly from the legacy that the founding fathers bestowed upon contemporary America. Okay. Don't get it twisted. All this stuff is all by design. Look back on, the ghettos and the projects and all that stuff. Why? Who in their right mind are going to put a bunch of low income people in one place and think, oh, they're going to be happy? They're happy now. And don't put in a system to get them out. All right. Thank you for listening. I recommend every Black person, if possible, visit the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And I recommend that everybody visit as many of these United States as you can. Go to their museums, go to their libraries, and because we need this, because we have to teach our children that this country is theirs as much as anybody else. And they supposed to make it better and take care of it. All right. Thank you for listening. All right. Keep the peace between your ears and live for the future. Thank you. Please comment and subscribe because I'm going to tell it like it is.